Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look at a bargain basement PC which you can put together for under £500 or potentially under £4 if you're prepared to make a few more sacrifices. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we take a look at a budget PC build which is actually going to be centered around this. This is the IONZ KZ29 case. This is an ATX case which actually comes in at a pretty decent price at the moment. You can pick it up for as little as £30. But these days, with the market being as it is, what do you actually put into a case like this? Now clearly you don't want to spend an absolute fortune on parts because the case isn't really designed for that kind of thing. So you want to put together a budget basement PC. So today I'm going to show you some options in PC Part Picker of what I'm going to actually be putting into this in an upcoming video, and potentially you can follow along, and obviously if you're looking to build a PC you can make adjustments for your own regional variations and also for differences in your potential budget. So let's head over straight to the PC and we'll go straight into it. Okay, so this is our PC Part Picker list. So we've got our components listed out here, and if you want to follow along, I will put a link for this in the video description, but pretty much all of it will also be listed as well as individual items from their relevant places. Now, pretty much everything that we've picked up on this particular build is available from Amazon UK. Obviously, if you're shopping elsewhere, then it may differ and prices may change, etc. But for UK builders, this is going to be relatively easy to actually put together. So we're starting off with the AMD Ryzen 5 4500, 3.6 GHz, 6-core processor. So we've got 6 cores and 12 threads. Now the 4500 isn't anything particularly stellar. It's relying on PCI Express Gen 3 technology. So potentially you might actually want to change this out for a Ryzen 5 3600, which technically is older, but potentially is the better processor for you. Reasons for that we'll go into shortly when we look at the motherboard. But at the moment, this is an absolutely banging deal. £67.97 available from amazon.co.uk, which I've already gone ahead and picked up. In terms of specifications, so like I said, 6-core processor, 11 megabytes of cache. It's a 65-watt TDP part, but it does only have support here for PCI Express Gen 3, which may limit what some people may want to do in the future. But realistically, it doesn't make a great deal of difference between PCI Express Gen 3 and Gen 4. Graphics cards, you will see a slight degradation in potential performance, but at this end of the market, really, you're not going to see a huge amount of difference. Motherboard wise, now this is one which I've laboured over a long time. Now, B450 boards obviously aren't the latest and greatest. They're actually 2 generations old now, but this one actually I feel offers pretty decent value for money. It's £60 here in the UK. Now, motherboard prices are absolutely ridiculous, and potentially you might even just want to pick up a used board. You can pick up something like the B450 Tomahawk, Tomahawk Max, Tomahawk Max 2 for around about £50 on the used market. So it depends if you want to go for new or used. Both of those aforementioned boards will be better than this one. This has some limitations, and if we take a look at the motherboard, you can see this isn't anything particularly special. You do have integrated DVI, VGA and HDMI outputs, no display port. But something which is actually really cool on this is the fact we do actually have a BIOS flashback button. So even though it is a relatively modest board, if you do want to upgrade to the latest and greatest later down the line, you do have a BIOS flashback button here, which a lot of B450 boards, especially in the lower end, generally won't have. You do have a single M.2 slot, only a PCI Express Gen 3 x 16 graphics card slot, only 2 RAM ports, which could be slightly limiting, and there's no coolers over the VRMs, although we have ordered some additional coolers which we're going to stick onto there, as we did with the previous version of this board, the Mark 1 version, which didn't have the BIOS flashback. This also got a slightly upgraded audio processing chip, but overall this is going to do exactly what you need it to do, and yeah, for £60 there isn't really a great deal better on the market. Although, as with everything, no doubt there's going to be some of you saying in the comments, spending a little bit more will get you more. But where do you stop? Where do you draw the line? This was currently the cheapest B450 board. It was relatively decent and had a BIOS flashback, which is going to be important because if you do want to buy this, it may be put on something like a 56 or 5700G. Potentially you're going to have to flash the BIOS before it'll work. And obviously, if you don't have BIOS flashback, you're going to have to put an older processor in there first of all to update the BIOS, depending on what comes out of the box. So yeah, decisions to be made. This May not be for everyone, but certainly for our particular use case is going to be absolutely fine. When it comes to RAM, actually, I was expecting to be using Crucial LPX, but actually Silicon Power Gaming, I've got some 16 gig RAM at the moment, which is DDR4 3200 CL16, at actually £1 or £2 cheaper than LPX currently here in the UK. This is from Amazon, so that is excellent. And it's actually not bad RAM, looks pretty decent, doesn't have any RGB or anything, but we're probably going to be trying to avoid RGB because this board doesn't really have any RGB features or functions or headers. So again, that is one of the contributing factors. It's just something else we don't have to worry about. When it comes to storage, now you can get Kingston MV2 drive, which is actually slightly cheaper than this, but that's PCI Express Gen 4x4. I've gone with the Crucial. This is actually pretty decent value for money, $39.99 for a 1TB M.2 drive. And again, for the kind of level of build we're doing, this is going to be more than adequate, and the Crucial P3 drives are actually pretty decent. When it comes to the graphics card, now again, this is going to be a bone of contention, so we've opted for a Radeon Eagle RX 6600 8GB. This is a great value card at the moment on the market, just slightly over £200. Again, there are going to be some of you screaming out in the comments section, but that's a PCI Express Gen 4 card, why are you using it on a Gen 3 board? Well, realistically, yes, it is going to reduce performance slightly, but it's not going to be a big enough difference to warrant spending an extra £50 on a decent motherboard, which is realistically the kind of money we'd have to spend to get the extra 2 or 3% of performance in certain titles. So I think this is actually a pretty decent option. Now, of course, like I said earlier, you can, if you want to, omit the graphics card, and that's then going to take you under £300. Then you could potentially upgrade your processor to a G series, adding on about an extra £30 to £40. So again, that is another option if you don't necessarily want a graphics card and you just want just a workhorse PC or an office-based PC. That will be absolutely fine. But I feel the Eagle from Gigabyte offers great value and performance for the money. When it comes to the power supply, some of you again are going to be screaming out, what are you doing, Mike? But I think this actually, for the level of system we've got here, $31.99 for the ARESGAMING AGV 500 watt 80 plus bronze, actually seems like a pretty decent choice. Normally we'd go with something like the Cylon from Aerocool, but this actually looks to be okay. Again, it's 80 plus bronze. And actually, for those of you in the UK, you will find, because we're using the 230 volt AC series, actually the efficiency does rise up quite a lot there, and actually going into almost into gold level territory and definitely going into silver. So potentially this is going to be all right. Again, it's only a 500 watt power supply, so don't expect too much, and it's only £30 plus. So yeah, don't expect a lot, but it has got nice black flat cables. You've got two PCI Express 8-pin connectors, which can be split, so if you do want to upgrade the graphics card at some point, you can do, although do take note of the voltages and wattages to see what you actually need. Well, I think this is going to be absolutely fine, and also I have ordered this. I've not used one before, so it's going to be an interesting thing to see how it actually performs. It does state that it's actually low noise, ultra quiet 120mm fan, so we'll definitely be taking a look at that when we review it. And last of all, the case, as you know already, so we're gone with the IONZ Performance Series. This is the High Airflow KZ29. There's two options for this. You can get it either for $37.95 with 3 included RGB fans, or you can go for the fanless version. So if you go over to pcgamingcases.co.uk, which are the main source of IONZ cases here in the UK, you've got the choice there. So you can do no fans, or you can do a little bit more expensive with the 3 fans. Again, down to the individual. If you've already got some fans knocking around, or you maybe just want to get a nice quiet PC, you could possibly pick up a set of Arctic P12s. Those come in multi-packs, which you can get pretty cheaply, so you might want to do that. Or you may not want fans at all. This is going to be a relatively low TDP system. It's not going to be putting a lot of strain on the ventilation. So maybe go with a fanless setup for ultra quietness. Who knows? Anyway, so back to the list. Again, this, I believe, does come with a stock Wraith cooler, which isn't ideal, but will get the job done. This isn't going to be generating a great deal of heat. So you may want to consider adding on an additional £20 there to round it up to 500 or just slightly over 500 and get one of those cool £20 coolers, such as the Thermalright B8 120, the SE214 XT, etc. There's lots of them on the market which are going to be potential options for you. So there you go. It isn't going to be the high-end PC that some of you wanted, but for a lot of people out there that are slightly more budget-minded, or maybe you're just looking to flip a PC, you've got a few parts lying around, you're not too sure how to go about doing it, then potentially you can use this guide and use some of the parts which you've listed as being budget options to put together a PC so you can get rid of it and move on to the next one. So hopefully this video's been helpful to you. If it has, smash the like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, then hit the subscribe button and the chime icon, and you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.